Okay, Bruchim Haba, Magun Erev Shabbos, Rabbi Sai, Parshas Kisavai. We have a few important offerings for today. First, we begin with Davar Yafeh B'itai. This week, you get to see the original manuscript because the typist had a baby a few nights ago. So you get to see the Ksav Yad. Parshas Kisavai, connecting Kisavai to the Zman Hashana. It's very interesting that the Gemara tells us in Masechta Megillah, Tanya Rav Shimon Elazar Omer, Ezra Tikein Lahen Li Yisrael Sheyu Kairin Klalois Sheba Mishnah Torah Kodim Rosh Hashanah. Rav Shimon Elazar made a takana that we need to read the Toichacha before Rosh Hashanah. My taima, what's the reason? Amar Abaye v'Tema Reish Lakish Kedei Shetichle Hashana v'Kiloiseha, so that the year should come to an end with its klalois. So as the year is coming to an end, we want all the klalois to go down the drain. So Tosfos points out that actually we don't read the klalois the week before Rosh Hashanah. We read Kisavai 2 Shabbosos before Rosh Hashanah, and we're mafsik in between with Nitzavim. Why? Because we want to make a hefsik between Rosh Hashanah and the klalois, so that the klalois are not too close to Rosh Hashanah. So Ezra was masakein that not mamish before the year is over, but 2 weeks before the year is over, we read the klalois in Mishnah Torah. So this is the takana of Ezra. Now what's interesting is that Rabbi Yaakov Emden in the Gemara Megillah Chavtes Amud Beis in the Maretz Chios Alamed Aleph Amud Beis asks, what do you mean Ezra was masakein? But in Eretz Yisrael they had a 3-year cycle. So in year 1 and in year 2, Kisavai was not before Rosh Hashanah. So how could the Gemara say Ezra was masakein for Klal Yisrael, that we should read Kisavai before Rosh Hashanah? That works out in our cycle, in a 1-year cycle. But in a 3-year cycle, it's not going to work out. So my friend Rabbi Yisrael Eliezer Levi showed me that Reb Tzadok HaKohen says that what this means is that even though in Eretz Yisrael they had a 1-year cycle, so this week they could be reading Miketz, they could be reading Behaloischa, whatever parsha they would read, Ezra was masakein to also read the Toichacha. Okay, you get that? In other words, when the Gemara says Ezra made a takana, that means irrespective of what the regular parsha of the week was, Ezra was masakein to read the Toichacha 2 weeks before Rosh Hashanah. So this kriya is really a very important kriya. It's a special takana of Ezra. So I just realized it comes out then that we who have a 3-year cycle, every single year reading Kisavai is the fulfillment of Takanas Ezra. So reading Kisavai every year is mamish Davar Yafeh B'itai. Think about how appropriate it is to read annually Kisavai b'Rosh Hashanah, to the extent that Ezra was masakein that this should be done irrespective of what parsha would ordinarily be read. Now, there are many ramazim to Elul in this week's parsha. My friend Rabbi Rafal Ansel, a friend, sent to me. First of all, we have the pasuk Perek Chazayin pasuk Beis V'Haya Bayoyim Asher Tavru Sayardin Al Arz Asher Shemel Kacha Noisein Lecha V'Hakemoisa Lecha Avanim Rashi Tevos Elul Lechem Loy Achaltem V'Yayin V'Sheichar Loy Shesisem is Rashi Tevos Elul V'Nikach Es Artsam V'Nitina Lenachala LaRuveni is Rashi Tevos Elul. The Sefer Eretz Tzvi, in the year Tafresh Pei Daled, in the end of the parsha of Bikurim, it says V'hishtach avisa l'fnei Hashem leikecha v'samachta b'chol ha'tov. He sees in this a remez to the upcoming Yom Nora and Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. Reishis is a reference to Rosh Hashanah. V'hishtach avisa is a reference to Yom Kippur. V'samachta b'chol ha'tov refers to Zman Simchaseinu Sukkos. The words Kisavai, Rabbi Yosef Blach, a Talmud of the Maggid of Mezrich, says the words kisavei are Rashi Tevois kulam ya'asu tshuva b'chodesh Elul. Everyone does tshuva in the month of Elul. Then we have Perek Chavav, Pasuk Tazayin, Hayoim Hazeh Hashem Elokecha Mitzavcha. Hayoim Hazeh, this day. Rabaruch, well, if it says Hayoim, what day do you think it's referring to? Rosh Hashanah. So in the Sefer Vayomer Shaul, Rav Shaul Nachmiash, he says, Efsher, this is also a remes Rosh Hashanah. Hayoim Hazeh Hashem Elokecha Mitzavcha. Now, I want to share with you something very interesting. Do you know how many slichos there are? Okay, now, for those on the shir now, you get to hear a personal pet peeve of mine. You know, some people daven nusach Ashkenaz, some people daven nusach Sfard. And when it comes to slichos, many people think that, well, if you daven Ashkenaz, I'm going to take an Ashkenaz slichos. And if I daven Sfard, I'm going to take a Sfard slichos. It's not really the case, because there is no Ashkenaz Sfard by slichos. What people call Ashkenaz slichos is minag lita. What people call Sfard slichos is minag poilen. So really, let's say for me, I daven Ashkenaz, but I'm from Poland, my family's from Poland. I really should be saying minag poilen. And you could be davening nusach Sfard, but in other words, the nuschais of slichais, I don't think necessarily go hand in hand with the nuschais hatfil. But be it as it may, what is called nusach Ashkenaz of slichais, you have 100 slichais. You have 100 slichais from beginning the first night of slichais until Erev Yom Kippur. And what's interesting to me is that salach is gematria 98. The Sefer Ginzei Yosef says that salach is to protect us from the 98 klalos of the Teichacha. So I would add that really there are not 98 klalos in the Teichacha. Because the Rashi says in Parshas Nitzavim, when the Jews heard the 100 klalos minus 2, they were very scared. So the Kliyakar asks, what do you mean 100 minus 2? Just say 98. So the Kliyakar says, indeed there were 100. 2 of them were the most frightening. 2 of them were, the pasuk says, Gam kol choyli v'chol madve asher lo kosov b'sefer Torah hazeh. Any illness that's not written in this book. So, and those were the ones that the Klal Yisrael were most scared of because they were not written, so they didn't know what to watch out for. So in reality, there are 100 curses, 98 that we know, 2 that we don't know. In that case, what's interesting is, it turns out there are 100 klalos. So perhaps then, the same way the Ginzei Yosef says, the word slach, which is 98, is a protection from the 98 klalos. The 100 slichos maybe protects us from the 100 klalos, similar to what the Kasnais Ar says that the 100 brachos protect us from the 100 klalos. The end of the parasha we read about Milchemes Sichain in the Hagois Re'em Horowitz in Bava Basra Ein Chesed Beis. He says the Milchemes Sichain took place in Elul because Sichain's city was Cheshbain, and in Elul our job is to give Cheshban HaNefesh. And one last offering, there are 122 psukim in Parshas Kisavai, which is the same number of total psukim in Nitzavim, Vayelech, and Ha'azinu together. And if you look in the Sefer Emunas Yitecha of Rabbi Meir, he brings from his son-in-law that the 122 psukim is a remez to all the days of tshuva, starting Rosh Chodesh Elul, going until Zois Chanukah, which is really quite wondrous. So these are a number of ways that we could connect Parshas Kisavai to the Zman Hashana Haba Aleinu L'Taiva. And we thank the Rebbeinu Shalom we were able to get this far. And we just have now Nitzavim, Vayelech, and V'zois HaBracha, and it will be a great simcha to complete this project. Okay, Rabbi Isai, that's offering number one.
Recording.